Yeah, I had a little bit of anxious, excited energy, but I rested well enough.
My man. Oh, there he is. Ben Champion. Please bring your gear just in case we are short on time. So do your thing. I'll go get my shoes and some shorts. But yeah, I was pumped. I think like every 2 hours I'd wake up, I was like, are we there yet? I just want to go already.
Yeah, it's a different kind of, I don't know if nervous is the word, but I get like that same anxious, jittery nicely before a competition. And it felt similar, but obviously way different, like way less pressure, way more exciting.
Yeah.
It's cool.
For sure.
Fins up. Good morning. Too hot. I don't understand Dave Portnoy's one bite thing, because he says that and then he takes 5 bites.
Well, that's the whole point. It's hilarious.
Did it used to actually be 1 bite and then he just decided to make a joke out of it? All right. 2 bites, everybody knows the rules. 1.
Pathetic bite. Come on, keep going.
We're very hot. Pretty good. Melty. A little messy, but good flavor. The Shirley Temple King told me that you want to base it off of texture, taste, and temperature. I just came up with that on the spot, the 3 T's. I would give this
Is that a TTT
a
reference?
5.2. Yeah.
So that's what TTT stands for.
Texture, taste, temperature. What's up, guys? We are here in Denver, Colorado. Today, I have the opportunity to check out the Gymshark U.S. headquarters. I just signed my contract with them this week, and I'm really excited for the opportunity to build their brand within our sport. Today, we're gonna meet the team, do a little product R&D, and I'm excited to take you guys along for the ride. Let's go. Were you more Backstreet Boys or NSYNC?
NSYNC for sure.
Same.
But he'd be Batman?
Joker?
No.
Make a left turn on
I don't think that's where the story goes. You'd be Catwoman. Or now that you're Gymshark, you'd be
Shark Boy?
You'd be the Penguin.
Isn't that a
Wait, if
thing?
you're Shark Boy, does that make Bijan Lava Girl?
Yeah, that is a thing, right? Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
Yeah, dude, you're Lava Girl now.
That's amazing. So,
Shark Boy.
he's just so experienced. You could tell he's bringing a lot of wisdom to the table. So, I'm excited to actually hear his vision for the brand. And I think he will hear a refreshing conversation between ourselves and like why we chose Gymshark. We had a great briefing last night at dinner with Ben, kind of just going through what the conversation's gonna look like, and it was one of those conversations where like you want to save all the good stuff for today,
Yeah.
but it's still like there's so much depth to what we're trying to do, so I think that's gonna come out on camera today.
We made it. That's what really matters.
Did you guys get breakfast and everything?
We did, yeah. We had a little breakfast burrito. We did a review system.
Nice.
Had some scalding hot coffee.
Let's go.
That's it. That's all you need.
Alrighty.
So like it.
Come over here.
So we're officially inside. This whole floor is Gymshark.
This whole floor is Gymshark.
It's awesome, actually. It's cool that it's within a big building that other businesses function out of, but as soon as you get on this floor, like the vibe is immediately Gymshark.
Well, say this looks good on you, man. You know
Thank
what I
you.
mean?
I'm trying. It's one of the first few pieces that we got.
There
so
you go.
Getting
There you
used
go.
to it all. We were rocking the tie-dye hoodies yesterday.
Nice.
I went full blue. It got definitely some looks in the airport, but I'm liking it.
Happy belated too, by the way.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Getting old.
No, it's-
Yeah. Still feeling young though.
What's up?
Good morning.
Andy?
How are you? Nice to meet you, brother.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you guys for having us
Yeah, so this is
in your beautiful home. Dude, step into my pod. Hi team, welcome.
Harry here in the UK, everybody else is in the US.
Hello, hello. You guys are making the right choice.
Appreciate it. Really excited to have you joining the fam.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
Looking forward to diving into some questions, get your thoughts on now, the future, as well as the brand and CrossFit as a whole.
Yeah, man. Let's do
Awesome. Well, let's start off talking about you. Love to better understand your approach this year from a training perspective, from a sport perspective, from a mindset perspective. Kind of talk to me a little bit about what's going on both physically and mentally for you this year.
Yeah, it's ironic that you say from a mindset perspective because I feel like that is a big shift that I've made this year. I had experimented with mental performance in the past and kind of had a bad experience, so I wrote that all off. But this year I was introduced to a mental performance coach who's actually based out in the UK, ironically, and we've hit it off, and I feel like that has been one of the things that I've been missing in my game a little bit. Not to say that my mental game was weak, but there was just a little gap there where now we've been able to like unlock that final little piece that I've needed to take it to the next level. So with the mental prep, in addition to probably the strongest physical prep that I've ever had leading into a season, I'm really excited for what 2021 looks like.
Awesome. And has that mental changed your physical approach as well?
Oh man, big time. I think that for the last decade, I've gotten really good physically, but there's always been, again, that like, I wish I could come up with a proper analogy, but I'm picturing you're charging your phone and there's like the battery meter and it gets all the way up to the top, but there's that like little sliver that I just have not been able to fill. And I think that the mental performance stuff is gonna allow me to fill my battery all the way up. And an example of what that looks like from the mental to the physical, a cue that my mental performance coach has given me in workouts when things start to get tough. Often we will kind of shy away from that discomfort. And one thing that I've been trying to do recently is to lean into that. So when it starts to get tough, that's kind of where it starts. And that's where my challenge begins. When I start to feel like, man, this is hurting, it's like leaned into that a little bit further. And I truly do feel like that has kind of opened up this new side of me that I haven't had before. So I'm excited to see what I'm able to do with that on the competition floor.
That's awesome. It's funny, our CEO has this term, Steve Hewitt has this term where pressure is a privilege.
I love that. Yeah.
And he talks a lot about that, so as you say that. Yeah. To that approach, or to that standpoint, I'd love to better understand your motivation, right? You've been in the game for a minute. You've been elitely successful for a really long time. Can you talk a little bit about what keeps you motivated? What keeps you driving towards continuing to be elite?
Yeah, thank you for saying that, by the way. I think what in the last few years has really become my why, if I may, is other people. And I know that maybe is an answer that can be a two-edged sword, right? Because sometimes you need to be able to do it for yourself, but I'm very motivated by my people, my community, those that support me and love me. I want to succeed for them. And I realized recently that no matter how I perform, I'm still gonna have the love and support from the people that truly do love me. So it's not a matter of winning that from them, but in competition, I've noticed that the times that I am successful, we get to all celebrate that together, and it just puts them in a much more positive place. Rather than having to console me, we get to celebrate together. And so that is a big part of my motivation. I want to win to be able to just like celebrate and share love and positivity with the people that have given me so much love and positivity over the years.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, to that point then, how do you define success?
That's tricky too. I think success can be defined in many ways, and a lot of people will say, especially like talking about the mental performance coach, we try not to necessarily look at outcome-based measures and you try to focus on the process. And so there is one side of things where success can be defined by enjoying the process, giving your full effort, knowing that you didn't leave anything on the table. But at the end of the day, there is a leaderboard, and that determines who wins and loses. And so success in black and white is defined by whether or not you get that gold medal around your neck. To me, I have accomplished almost everything in the sport up until that point. You know, I've won regionals, I've been able to win other competitions, the Open, I've come very close to winning the games, and that's the last black and white piece of success that I'm really chasing. Along the way, if we define success differently, I've had the most successful career personally for myself because I've gotten so much healthier, more fit, positive in my mindset. I've developed so many amazing relationships. This sport has given me so much that I'm already successful. You know, if I stepped out of the game tomorrow, I would have had this beautiful, very successful career to reflect on. But that being said, I still want to get that gold medal around my neck.
Yeah. No, I love that.
Yeah, if I may say, I think that over the years, and we say this a lot when we talk to the younger athletes versus someone who's been in the game for a little bit, that we look at success from a much more macro perspective. So when you ask someone, do you think they're equipped to win the games? I think a young athlete or someone who's talking about this might say, oh, well, they're physically primed to, they have the potential. But what are we going to do to unlock that potential? And even now at this point in his career, he's talking about unlocking more potential. So when we define our season as successful or not, what did we do to prepare ourselves to unlock the most amount of potential? And then what did we do to fulfill that potential? So how we define the season he got second place versus the season he got whatever, we look at that preparation and we look at the outcome as the fulfillment of that preparation. So the same thing this year, we know what our potential is because he's unlocking that full battery meter like he's talking about. Now we're going to say, okay, prep is there. What are we going to do to fulfill that? And in this case, our goal is to win the games this season. So at the end of it all, we're going to look again at a macro perspective of, was this a successful season? Did we put all the pieces in place that we needed to, including our partnerships like Gymshark and the people around us to facilitate this vision? So I think early on, people have a very minute, closed-minded definition of what a successful career looks like. And we've learned through like blood, sweat, and tears what success means to us.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
For sure.
And I think when we talk about mindset, what's really unique about Gymshark is we define ourselves, as the process, right? So when you think about, we're not the game-winning kick, shot, score, but we're the 10,000 hours that you put in to get there, right?
Yeah.
And I'd love to better understand from you, if you can talk about the process of becoming elite, of becoming great, whatever you want to call it, and your relationship with the process.
Yeah, I love that. And it's interesting because one of the reasons that I was so intrigued by Gymshark, and I think many people maybe know the story of Ben kind of starting the company in his parents' kitchen, sewing stuff together, reaching out to brands, basically more or less kind of starting from scratch and building it into what it is today. And I feel like as an athlete, that's kind of the way that I came into the sport. Sure, I had an athletic background. I grew up playing a little bit of everything, but there were so many skills and components to becoming a high-level CrossFitter that I needed to develop from the ground up. It's ironic because the year that I've been the most successful at the games was actually the year that my personal life was the most difficult. My parents went through a very difficult divorce, and that was the year that I struggled the most mentally and emotionally in dealing with that because that was brand new to me. And somehow I ended up coming out with it was kind of the best and worst year of my life at the same time. And it was interesting, like you said, that there were these dichotomies and this carryover where my personal life and being able to be vulnerable with people, I feel like that was huge, learning to like share the way that I was feeling. And I know eventually we'll talk about social media, but being able to open up and be vulnerable was not only healthy for me, but ended up benefiting others as well, because they realized either that they were not alone, that they've been in similar situations, or that they were able to kind of help give me advice on how to deal with something that I was going through. So that's something that I carried forward with those difficult times and have kind of brought into both real life and competition life, like being honest with myself after a workout and being able to reframe that and really dive into like what did go well, what could I do a little bit better next time, and not just kind of suppressing all of that where I may have done that in the past, both in my personal and competitive careers.
Yeah, no, you're a pro. That's a perfect transition. I like how you threw that alley-oop right there. So I'd love to talk a little bit about social media and the role that social media has played, or the role social media plays in your life, both positive and negative, and then the role that you see it playing, more largely in sport.
Social media, to some people, is kind of an obligation, right? They have to do it because they need to maintain a brand. I've always seen it as an opportunity, and I've always enjoyed doing it. So I think for the most part, I've always had a pretty positive relationship with social media. That being said, there are always times where you can pull some negatives out of it, right? You maybe spend too much time on it. You can get distracted by what other people are doing and thinking about what you need to be doing as well. There was a period of time where I would see somebody hit a lift on Instagram, and I'd go into the gym and be like, I need to be able to snatch more than them. And if I didn't, I'd get all frustrated, and it all stemmed from literally just scrolling on Instagram. I think I've matured a bit from that side of things, and I like to utilize my platform that I've been able to build, again, as I have an opportunity now to positively influence people, and I don't want to let that go to waste. So as much as I can potentially inspire somebody to be a little bit more active, inspire somebody to be a little bit more positive and happy and shift their perspective and find ways to enjoy their lives, I love to be able to do that. And that's why I would love to continue to build my platform, is just to have a bit more of a positive influence on the world.
Let's talk about why Gymshark, and especially why Gymshark in terms of what are elements of Gymshark. And you mentioned Ben's story, which obviously is a super inspiring story, but and some of the relatability elements between you and him. But let's talk about why Gymshark for you, and why you feel like it's the best fit at this point in your career.
Yeah, man, I'm like giddy with excitement to be able to work with Gymshark now. I think the timing of it is really cool. I have yet to have the opportunity with a brand in this space to kind of build something from the ground up. Obviously, Gymshark is an established brand in general, but to now step into our sport, we've got the opportunity to do research and development on product, to tell the narrative, to show the community that we really care about them, and we want to develop product and a community and a lifestyle that fits and supports everybody in the community. So I think being able to do that together and figure that out at the very, very beginning is a really, really awesome opportunity.
Dope.
One thing that we said early on together, and Noah just mentioned, is just getting as much of the community involved in the process as possible. We recognize that from a product feedback perspective, but also what can we do as someone who has such great influence to remove barriers of entry to the sport and to fitness in general.
Yeah, I think being able to provide the opportunity for people to get in the gear that some of their favorite athletes are wearing, and to not have to like stretch themselves to be able to do that. That was one of the first things that when we were starting to do a little bit of research on Gymshark, we found the price point is really low, and then pleasantly surprised that the quality is really high. So it's this awesome marriage of the two that is going to allow people to, when they try it for the first time, maybe be able to try multiple pieces and then enjoy it so much that they can go back and get even more of it. So I think that will be really cool.
Can you talk a little bit about how you see Gymshark really elevating you in the sport, elevating you from a mindset perspective, and really the role that we're going to play together?
Yeah, what was really cool to me at the beginning, as I got to have conversations with some of the Gymshark staff and get to know the brand, it seems like Gymshark is about much more than just clothing. And CrossFit is about much more than just fitness. And the underlying similarity between the two is community and being able to support each other no matter what we're doing. And I think that being able to tie those two together, the opportunity for us to bridge the gaps between some different sports as well. Again, going back to the vulnerability thing, to be transparent, when I first started hearing about Gymshark, in my mind, it was a very Globo Gym bodybuilder type of brand. But the more that I've gotten to know it, the more that they are just about athletes and people performing well, wearing gear that they feel comfortable in. And so I think us being able to also tell that story and help take down that potential barrier to entry that people may have misperceived in the past is going to be important.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. No, it's a really exciting opportunity for us. It's a really exciting opportunity for us to do something together. And I think to your point, for the community, we're going to do some fun stuff. So I'd love to transition and talk a little bit about sport now.
Let's do it.
Talk to me a little bit about what sport means to you, both your sport and then sport in general, and the idea of participation in sport.
Yeah, man. I don't want to say that sport is everything, but it is a huge part of my entire life. I'm 30 years old now, 3 decades deep, and I've been playing sports for almost that entire
young
time.
30.
Young 30 for sure. Just a big old kid. And sport, and this particular sport that I've been participating in for the last 10 years, I'm one of potentially millions of people that have been incredibly positively impacted by this sport, from a health and wellness perspective, from a mindset and positivity perspective, from a community perspective. And so to be able to help share that with more people, that's the reason that I love the sport and I want to see the future of it continue to grow and be bright, is because I know how influential it's been in my life, and I feel like the more people can start to experience it, the better their lives will be as well.
Awesome. To that point, can you talk about your relationship with sport and how it's changed over the years, and then really what's your vision for the sport moving forward?
We'd love to continue to, like we said, make it more inclusive. And it goes both ways. You know, if Noah walks into a training facility, I don't want him to be pigeonholed into just his sport. He's capable of so much. And when we talk about Gymshark and why we feel so excited and comfortable for this being our platform, we do believe that Gymshark has a very, again, macro, holistic approach to fitness in general. So it's not just, and that's the way we felt even just through the whole process of coming to the partnership, was it wasn't just about the competition floor for Noah. It was who he was as a human being, who he was as a competitor in his sport, but also who he was to fitness globally, you know, his reach and influence on people, again, from a macro approach. So we knew that this partnership was something that could be lifelong. It wasn't just about his years as a competitor. So when we talk about the evolution of sport and what we're trying to do for it, we want to be able to walk into a space and not just be identified as a sports-specific athlete. We want to say, like, no, this is someone who is fitness. They are fitness in every capacity that we define fitness. And same thing, we want someone from another sport to be able to feel that way when they're stepping into our space. So we feel that Gymshark provides a very broad platform that allows people to recognize fitness from a different perspective that we believe other brands are maybe possibly intentionally, you know, contrasting.
This guy's good.
Yeah, it's a pro.
We've thought about this. You know?
Once or twice.
This is a very intentional partnership.
I love it.
It's been a journey for us all, for sure. Again, it's been over a decade that I've been competing in this sport, and I myself have grown a ton, both physically and mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and the sport itself has changed over the years. Also physically, to where the max lifts that people were hitting back in the day are like warm-up weights that we're hitting now, which is wild. And even year to year it changes. So as the sport continues to grow and be able to have reach to more and more people, I think that I would love to be a part of just kind of continuing to, again, bridge those gaps, maybe get into different sports and different athletes that have heard of CrossFit but don't necessarily know what it is that we do, show them what it is truly so they can have that mutual respect. And we've already experienced that a handful of times with other athletes that we've gotten connected with. I think there are many different communities. When we talk about diversity, obviously there's cultural diversity, there's diversity within sports, there's age diversity, there's so many different facets of it. And I would love to be able to somehow start to create synergies between all of those. And we don't know exactly what that looks like yet, but again, we're starting on the ground floor. So we have the opportunity, we have a clean slate to where we can go and do that in whatever way that we want.
You know, so when we talk about, like we're saying, being more inclusive and serving our communities and going into underprivileged communities, and again, just making the sport look more diverse and feel more diverse,
it requires a lot of work, and we would like to apply ourselves to that work. And that's a game plan. It's going to take some runway, and we need a partner that's going to stick with us through that entire runway, not just while we're achieving success on the competition floor.
Genuinely, that's one of the reasons that I am excited to work with Gymshark, because I do feel comfortable that while I am competing and performing, you guys, we have the infrastructure to be able to start building out some of those things so that they can happen simultaneously. It maybe in the past was like, hey, we have to wait until competition is over to really start working on some of these projects. But now it almost feels like we have the resources to be able to do both at the same time.
Right, that's a huge thing for us.
100%. No, and that's where I think the stars really align. So that's dope. I love it. And to that point, you touched on community a few times, right? And the role that the community plays. Can you talk a little bit about community and how it's helped you throughout your career, and then the role that you see sport playing in really inspiring community?
Absolutely. Community is huge across the board. I think that people thrive in their lives because of the communities that they're in. Somebody framed it to me recently. If you won the games and you were in an empty arena getting the gold medal placed around your neck, would it mean anything to you? And I kind of envisioned that, and it would not be nearly as special if I was accomplishing that and celebrating that by myself. It's the people that you get to celebrate it with that I think make it significant. So the people along the way, and again, all the people that I think have yet to be impacted by the sport and the community, the potential that there is to go and benefit people in different communities with something that has benefited us so much already is a really cool opportunity.
That's dope. And then last question, only because you brought it up. You talked about confidence. Can you talk about the role that confidence plays in your life? And how do you continue to leverage the confidence that you do have to create more?
I think I had a false reality of what confidence was before. I would put on what I thought confidence needed to be, and that was ill-received by many, and that feedback kind of came back to me, and I thought, man, I'm doing this wrong. Confidence doesn't mean being a macho man. It doesn't mean being the person that you think you need to be. To me, confidence is all about just being who you are. And that's something that I finally realized, and I feel like changed my life, in order to just be content and happy. And as cliche as it is, the happy but hungry thing is a mindset that I've personally been living for the last handful of years, where I love what I'm doing every day, but I'm not satisfied, and I'm not going to stop. I'm going to continue to be hungry and pursue more and try to do better. So finding that balance between the two has been really important.
I love that, happy and hungry, man.
Yeah, man, me too.
That's awesome. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Really excited to have you jumping in and joining the fam, and we're going to do some really dope stuff. So I'm hyped.
As am I. Feels right.
Gentlemen. We're in the 215. Check it out. Check it out. Oh my gosh.
Give me some.
No, I need this.
What's up, buddy?
Bro, good to see you.
You as
You
well.
got a big old back still.
I try,
see.
I'm working on it.
He's got a
There's
big
a ledge.
shelf,
You
a
got a
big
ledge.
old shelf back there.
This is the shark?
Yeah.
This is the shark.
Yeah. Order me some of that
I
stuff.
was trying to get matching tops and bottoms.
Yeah, so I wore the full blueberry tie-dye suit
Yeah, I love
yesterday.
that.
Just got back from an amazing trip out to Denver. Got to know the entire Gymshark team. We had some awesome conversations about what the future looks like for all of us. Back in the tank now, and I get to put the gear to the test. Got 5x5 back squats to start the day. Just wrapped up the 5x5 back squat, and I'm transitioning into some overhead squats from the ground. Because we are also filming some of the Gymshark announcement content, I'm gonna do a quick outfit change. Hey, it worked. Let's grab a bar and take it to the great outdoors. Max, what have you always said about the last set? Come on. Not even for the camera, just for me.
I don't remember.
It's the best set, jeez. It's so easy. How could you forget? We say it so often. So, I am building up to a heavy triple overhead squat from the ground, which is kind of non-traditional. Usually you take it out of the rack, but they've tested it in competition before where you've had to clean it, put it on your back, and then get it overhead. I was warming up. 305 was the number that we determined I should cap it at today. I could probably do a little bit more, but just want to hit a nice crisp 3 here. I've already hit 275, 255, and 225 on the way up, but this is 305. Alright, I hit a nice crisp 305. Now I'm gonna go back inside for some EMOMs with my buddy Travis, but first, we've got one more outfit change. Whew, that's a bright one. Let's get it. So this session is going to be an EMOM every minute on the minute of first thrusters and chest to bar pull-ups, and then snatches and ring muscle-ups. Last set, best set. That's a wrap on that one. Alright, I just wrapped up a 10-minute EMOM of 6 muscle ups, 1 snatch on minute 1, and then 6 snatches, 1 muscle up on minute 2. While that wraps my training day, it is just the beginning of my relationship with Gymshark. I'm really excited for what we're gonna do together in the future. Gymshark and CrossFit are both very, very community-based, so to be able to bring those two communities together is going to be powerful. We're gonna be working on developing some brand new product that's gonna be tested just like this in the gym. It's gonna be made for us, by us. You guys are gonna love it. I'm excited for you to love it. I love it already, so look forward to that. Thank you guys for supporting me no matter what, and now we've got a new brand as a part of our family and our community. It's gonna be good. Gymshark, fins up, baby.